guys, it's Sarah and today is Booklist Thursday. This is a video series that I do with my friend Lindsay over at Lindsay's Little Library, and every Thursday we bring you some sort of list or fun book topic we feel like talking for the week. And this week, today, is Thanksgiving here in the United States. So for everybody who is joining in on the festivities on Thanksgiving, happy Thanksgiving. I hope you guys are having a wonderful and safe Thanksgiving with your families as much as you can do. I know that this year is going to be very different, but I hope that whatever you're doing, you're making the best of it, and it's going to be fantastic. For today, we thought we'd have a little fun. We thought about having kind of a Thanksgiving dinner, and each course or each aspect of a typical Thanksgiving dinner would be represented by some type of book. So we kind of took some of the more popular options for Thanksgiving and tied them into a prompt for a book, and we're going to talk about a book that would fit that title. So this is kind of like a bookish Thanksgiving meal, if you will. First one we're going to talk about is the cocktails, because we all need them, especially around our families. Everything is great as long as we have a glass of wine. So for a cocktail, what is a book that gave you a hangover? The last book that gave me a book hangover was Empire of Storms by Sarah J. Maas, which was book number 5 in her Throne of Glass series. When I finished that book, I could not think of anything else. It was a wild ride. I felt like I had just gotten off of a roller coaster and I was so disoriented I couldn't even see straight. And it took me a couple days to pick something else up. I just remember going, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do with myself now, basically, and I couldn't think of anything else. So I had to come down from that. Definitely had to come down from that one. The next portion is bread, because you always have to have some sort of bread, whether you have rolls. We choose to do crescent rolls. I have a friend who does Hawaiian rolls. So there's always some sort of bread that's being passed around. It's kind of like a must. You must have this at the table in some way, form, or shape. So for bread, we're going to do a must read. And for me, a must read for everybody is The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna. This is one of my top 3 books of all time. And it is both beautiful and heartbreaking at the same time. It is written so beautifully. The story is beautiful. The characters were so different, but you could understand how each character chose to live their lives, and you understand why that happened. And it just, oh my gosh, I can't. It was a very, very sad story. It is World War II historical fiction, and you're following 2 sisters who are living in France, and you're seeing how both of them are dealing with the war in very, very different ways and seeing what they're experiencing. And it was fantastic. Again, one of my top 3 books of all time. Like, it's up there. I actually want to reread that as well. And it's beautiful. There's a movie, I think, coming out. I don't know. It does have casting done, and Dakota Fanning and Elle Fanning are playing the sisters, which I think is brilliant that actual sisters are playing these sisters. And I think they're both going to do amazing. If it ever happens, of course, everything is kind of up in the air right now, but oh my goodness. If you haven't read The Nightingale, please do. The next course is vegetables. Everybody has some sort of vegetable happening. Green bean casserole is a pretty big hit usually around this time. I think this year we're going to do corn. That's what has been requested by my children. And if they'll eat it, I'm going to make it, basically. So for vegetables, we want you to pick a book that made you feel good, because it's good for you. A book that made me feel good, a big standout for this year, has been Beach Read by Emily Henry. I loved that book. I could not get enough of it. Everything about that book just made me so happy, and it made me laugh, and it definitely gave me some feelings, and I loved it. I loved it so much. I thought the characters were fantastic. Their banter, I was completely living for, because it's got that really good humor in it, and I wanted to be best friends with the main character, January, like, definitely. So yeah, that one definitely made me feel good. The next course is Cranberry Sauce. Do we love cranberry sauce? And what kind of cranberry sauce do you have? Do you get the ones in the can where you pour it out and it looks like the can, you see the indentations and stuff, like the jelly stuff, or do you actually make cranberry sauce? I've done both. Usually I would just buy it because, like, whatever. I don't love cranberry sauce. I tend to skip it, honestly. But I've also made like a cranberry compote type thing, which was actually pretty good. More labor intensive, but it was still good. But that's kind of like a classic Thanksgiving dish that ends up on the table, whether people want it or not. So for this one, we're going to go with what is a really good classic that you've read. For me, I'm going to say To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee. Again, top 3 books of all time. This one, when I read it, I didn't read it until I was in my 30s, and I got mad at myself for waiting so long to read it. I was never assigned this book in high school, which really surprised me. So I didn't read it until I was in my 30s, and it knocked me over. It really did. The writing was fantastic. The characters are fantastic. The subject matter is important still today. And just the moral values in here are just uncompromised. It's so good. And I remember just taking my time with it and reading it and just not ever wanting it to end. So yeah, To Kill a Mockingbird is definitely my favorite classic. I don't know if it's considered more of a modern classic because, it wasn't written in the 1800s type thing, but definitely one of the most important books I've ever read. The next course is a casserole. There's all sorts of casseroles, right? There's sweet potato casserole, which is our favorite. There's the green bean casserole, like I said. A lot of people do hash brown casseroles. Stuffing can kind of be considered a casserole, I guess, ish. I don't know. Lots of casseroles. So casseroles have a lot of things in them, right? You put all these ingredients together and then you throw it in the oven and you bake it. So for a casserole, we wanted to talk about a book that can span multiple genres. So there's a few different genres inside these books. So for this one, I'm going to talk about The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. So this one has a few different genres that it can kind of fall under. There's at least 3 different aspects of it that I could come up with off the top of my head. So it is a fantasy because there's magic, definitely. It is historical because it is set way earlier than we are now. I don't remember exactly when, but you can tell it's historical. It's in the past. And it's a romance. It's like a forbidden romance, like a Romeo and Juliet romance type thing. There's, they're kind of forced together to actually kind of kill each other because they're opposite side people. I don't want to say family, but their people are enemies. And yeah, so they are kind of forced together to fight to the death because of this long time feud. And they end up falling in love, and it's so awesome. So yeah, I would say like a romance as well. So with at least 3 different things in The Night Circus. If you haven't read it, oh, it's so good. Another like top 10. Now we're going to talk about stuffing. Confession time. I don't really like stuffing. Like, I could skip that on the table. Like, we're not even going to make it this year because it's just going to be the 4 of us. I don't know. If it's on my plate, I'll eat it, but it's not my favorite thing. I don't gravitate towards it. I don't live for the stuffing. So, yeah, that's a little confession for me. But for stuffing, we want to talk about a book that fills you up because, stuffing is like the meat and the bread and all that stuff. And it's like, it fills you up. So a book that fills you up, fills your love tank, if you will. So for this one, I got to go with Harry Potter. I've read through the series, more than once. I'll read through it again more than once. And every time I read it, I get that nostalgia. I get the good feelings. I get just completely taken away from anything that's going on around me. I am completely in it every single time I'm reading it, and it definitely fills up my love tank. All right, now we're talking about the main event, the turkey. The turkey. This is the big thing in the middle of the table. So for this one, we are going to talk about books that have some meat to it. What's a book that has some meat to it for the turkey? This one for me is Beartown by Frederick Bachman, another top 10. You guys, another top 10 book for me. Beartown is one of the best books I've ever read, and it definitely has some meat to it. There are a lot of things that happen in this book. There is so much to talk about in this book. I highly recommend buddy reading this with somebody or reading it with a book club if people haven't read it yet. There's so much to talk about. It is full of things that just, if I were an annotator, I would have like marked up this book completely. I just don't do that, but there's so many things in there that really stood out to me as far as quotes go and things that made sense. There's so much social commentary in it because it does follow a hockey team and the importance of this hockey team to this town. And then the captain of this hockey team sexually assaults a girl, and how the town reacts to it, how the girl reacts to it, how the hockey player reacts to it, how the coaches react to it, how the parents react to it. It's just, there's so much in there that it's just one of the best books I think that you can have such a great discussion about. And for dessert, let's talk about dessert. Let's talk about guilty pleasures. So one guilty pleasure for me that has stood out this year that I have started reading is the Beautiful Bastard series by Christina Lauren. Are these books wonderfully written? Are these books full of substance and full of important things and values and blah, blah, blah? No. Are they fun? 1000% they are fun. And they're just really good, smutty times, and I have really been enjoying them. I read through them really quickly when I do, and I'm excited to pick up the next one. I think I'm ready for book number 3 now, and it's just fun. Like, they're just a good time. They're fast, they're quick. A lot of times they're just, they're great to pick up after you read a really heavy book, probably, just to kind of give your brain a little bit of a break and just have something enjoyable. They're funny. Definitely guilty pleasures. Okay, guys, so that is Thanksgiving dinner in bookish form. So I hope you enjoyed it. Please head over to Lindsay's channel and see what she is picking for all of these rounds and courses of her Thanksgiving dinner as well. I'm really interested to see if we pick any of the same ones. I think it'll be interesting to see if we do that. And let me know down below, if you celebrate Thanksgiving, what is your favorite thing to eat for Thanksgiving? What's my favorite? I would say like the potatoes are probably my favorite. Either mashed potatoes, sweet potato casserole. I also love dessert. I make a pumpkin cheesecake every year. That's kind of like always a big hit. So we're definitely gonna be doing that this year. So those are kind of my 2 favorite things that I look forward to the most for Thanksgiving dinner. But let me know your favorites down below, and I will talk to you guys again soon. Hope you have a wonderful and safe holiday, and we will see you guys next week. Bye.